I'm Megan Skidmore, and welcome to the Beyond the Shadow of Doubt. I'm a woman, daughter, sister, spouse, mother, life coach, and person of faith on a mission to normalize asking questions and allowing doubts on a faith journey and all aspects of life. Join me as I bring this traditionally taboo topic out of the shadows of shame and into the light. I firmly believe we normalize through more talking and engaging in discussion. More talking peels back, exposes, and erases the layers of shame associated with asking questions and allowing doubts. When we are more authentic about our journey, we are more powerful because shame has no power in the face of authenticity. Hopeful Spaces is a Dallas Hope Charities component of Hopeful Discussions, sponsored by Mercedes-Benz Financial Services USA. It's a free monthly parent, ally, or caregiver support group facilitated by Megan Skidmore Coaching. Email chc@dallashopecharities.org for more info. First Friday's free coaching, a confidential group to bring all the questions, vent frustrations, share fears, express doubts. Navigating a new and uncertain reality is hard enough. Let's remove the worry of judgment from others. In this group, I will help you help yourself so that you can be there for your child, family, loved ones, and for you too. Click the link in the show notes to sign up. You must complete the agreement. Today's episode is going to be a little different. Not only shorter, but I am inviting you into participating in this process. And the process I am speaking of is this journey of connecting to self, sometimes called inner wisdom or that inner knowing. In my faith and spiritual journey, this has become an integral part of my evolving connection to myself and to the divine. So I was listening to a video of James Hollis being interviewed, who is an American Jungian psychoanalyst, as well as public speaker and author of 20 books, who is based in DC. I'll leave the link to the interview, but he addressed this idea of how we make sense of our life's personal journey from a Jungian lens. And these concepts really rung true for me, as I've mentioned, as I've been on my faith and spiritual journey. He first invites us to remember what it means to be in contact with ourselves. And I quote, he says, "It's interesting. Jesus said, you couldn't enter the kingdom of heaven without becoming as a child again. Not childish, but as a child. And all of the great Eastern traditions have talked about simplification at some level of one's complex lives." So he continues to explain 4 parts to this concept. He says, when we stop and think about the feeling function, we don't create our feelings. Feelings are autonomous. They're qualitative evaluations of how things are going. I will add my own part to this. I believe they are autonomous until we learn to train ourselves to pause in that moment between stimulus and response and increase our awareness about what's going on for ourselves. But that's for another day. For the purposes of this discussion, we'll go with his definition. He says we can be serving outer demands or agendas, but if the feeling function doesn't support us, it'll get routinized very quickly. Over time, it'll become boring or even depressing. Okay, so that's the first part. Second part is we have energy systems. When we're doing what's right for us, the energy supports us. It carries us through. Thirdly, we have dreams. He says, as you well know, and dreams often will comment upon our career choices, just as they do upon our relationships. And fourthly, the most important of all, according to James Hollis, and the most elusive, is meaning. He says, if what I'm doing is not meaningful, you can't pay me enough to do it. You can pay somebody $1 million a week, but if it's not meaningful, after a while, it'll feel like a prison. Okay, so that's what I learned from James Hollis, and here's where I'm inviting you in. If you have been following me long enough, hopefully you have an idea of how this feeling function works. If not, let's definitely get on a Discover coaching call soon. But basically, as he said, how they are a qualitative evaluation of how things are going. In other words, they are our teachers, dropping pebbles, leading us along the path that is meant for us, guiding us gently from the one that is not, or maybe not so gently. So I want to focus on number 2, our energy systems. As he says, when we're doing what is right for us, Our energy supports us. It carries us through. And here's the connection. Our feelings, or this feeling function that he's talking about, are the green flags that invite us to examine the current state of our energy, to determine if our internal, or our thoughts, our wishes, our wants, our beliefs, our values, or our calling, to determine if those are aligned with our external, or our words, our behaviors, the choices that we make, the things that we act on. When those are out of alignment, our feelings are going to be the first to alert us. As Hollis describes it, we may feel the drudgery of routine, or become bored over time, or even depressed. Those are all words to describe feelings. And these feeling words are descriptors for where our energy is at. By definition, a feeling is a vibration in the body. The idea of vibration speaks to this idea of movement, of physical energy and motion to some degree within our body. Collectively, all these vibrations from different feelings that we're having make up our energy levels. And whether or not those levels support and carry us through whatever life is handing us right now. To give you an example, it's like the difference in energy felt in the body between the rush of having a bullet train go by you versus the energy of a child on a tricycle or a bicycle with training wheels learning to ride. When I was in Kyoto, Japan about a year ago, we were waiting to catch the bullet train back to Tokyo. And without warning, good thing we were back from the platform edge, but a passing through bullet train came by, and a bullet train goes almost 200 miles per hour. And it was, the presence was overwhelming. It was loud. It was so fast. You couldn't have even, you probably couldn't have taken a clear picture. It was so fast. And the energy was like almost overpowering or overwhelming. It was great. It was a rush. Compare and contrast that to the energy of, riding a bike or a tricycle. It's not that one is wrong or bad. Neither is better. There's just differences to note. And it's important to recognize that you can't have one without the other. They each give a reference point for the other. And each teaches what we have or don't have, and maybe what we need or don't need. We have these different levels of energy that are pretty much dependent upon our life circumstances and then the beliefs that we filter those circumstances through. Sometimes those filters are brought with us from childhood, even if they are a darkening filter, one that darkens our lens, so to speak. Sometimes we don't realize that we still have these filters. So my invitation to you is this next week, I want you to track your feelings, to determine your top 3 feelings. You don't have to, but I'm going to invite you to focus on the uncomfortable ones. I think you're going to get more traction if you do that. So pick the same time of day and jot down your top 3. And then after the course of the week, take notice of the 1 or the 2 that show up the most frequently. There is your work. This is where you start to examine what is below the feeling or feelings. What was going on, or what were you generally doing when this feeling came up? How did you respond? What did you say? This is where you get compassionately curious about why you might have thought a certain thing or reacted to XYZ situation, which led to fill in the blank feeling. This is part of the work that I do with my clients. Often it takes someone outside of ourselves to see the things that we cannot see on our own. To hire a life coach is to be brave and courageous. It is to care deeply about the trajectory of your life and whether or not your feelings are in alignment with your values, dreams, goals, thoughts, beliefs, and so on. And if they're not, you're choosing to do something about it. I would be honored to walk this path with you, not for you, but with you, side by side, helping you learn to connect and find the answers that are already there within. Please see the link in the show notes to schedule a complimentary Discover coaching call. Thank you for joining me. Until next time. Beyond the Shadow of Doubt is a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, which is part of the Dialogue Journal found at dialoguejournal.com/podcast. Visit meganskidmorecoaching.com to find this podcast and additional free resources, including the link for a complimentary coaching session. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram for more, or to send me a DM. Help the podcast grow. Please follow, review, and share with a friend.